There needs not be any rhyme or reason to talk a little spooky season. Hey, what's up, bookworms and boils and ghouls and all the things that go bump in the night? It's that time of the season again, my favorite time of the season. This is, of course, is October, rolling right around the corner, guys. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of the season of October and Halloween. It is my favorite holiday. I just love the time. Look, this is the only time of year in Houston it gets down below 80 degrees, so it's really nice. But lots of things to enjoy here, having young kids, getting to experience Halloween all over again, things like that. It's a lot of fun, but I do love the horror genre. Now, however, guys, I do know that horror doesn't exactly move the needle on this channel. If you guys were around last year, this time I did my announcement for Fright Fest 2020, which was a whole month of October was going to be nothing but horror content because I felt like I had kind of neglected the genre a little bit. Now, I'm not going to do that again because statistically speaking, that was one of the worst months ever on this channel as far as viewership came in. So we're not going to do that again, but I am going to pick up some horror books this year. And of course, I'm going to make a few horror videos for the month of October because there is no better time of the year than to do so. Now, what I'm going to do first, guys, I'm going to talk about some things that I'm planning to read in October in case any of you want to join me on this this fun little fright trip as we talk about a little bit of horror. I'm going to do some more videos. Now, those are going to kind of be up in the air, but I'll talk about them when I get there. Let's go ahead and start with the books, guys. The first one, I don't have physical copies. I got digital copies. The first one on the list is going to be I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. I have no reason why I picked this one, except when I did Sci-Fi September, I did a lot of books I felt were kind of shorter, and by shorter meant like 300 pages instead of the usual 750-page fantasy books that I usually read. And I thought, hey, I want to make sure I pick up a couple of shorter horror ones. And now this one, I think this really looks like a one-day read. It's like 50 pages long. It's something that has been recommended to me a lot, especially last year when I did Edgar Allan Poe and I did Lovecraft. A lot of people really recommended this one a lot. And obviously, I've heard the name, but I've never actually read it before, so that's kind of why I picked that one. I figured it could be a nice little palate cleanser between other things. And then another one that I do not have a physical copy of, this is The Son of Stephen. You might have heard of him. This is Joe Hill. I'm going to be doing Heart-Shaped Box. This is very obviously the son of Stephen King. I first knew about Joe Hill doing Lock and Key, the comics. I read Nosferatu right before I started this channel, actually. It was actually the last book I read before I started Wheel of Time. It's kind of funny to think about in hindsight. But I liked what I read. You know, I really felt like it was encouraging. And, hey, maybe the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. He's actually writing in the multiverse and stuff. So I want to kind of get more into his stuff because I really did enjoy Nosferatu. So Heart-Shaped Box or the Fireman is what it came down to. I went Heart-Shaped Box because it sounded scarier, you know, and I'm trying to get kind of the frights here. Now a couple I got some physical copies up here. Now this one, I've had a lot of people tell me that book is absolutely horrifying. It will make you so uncomfortable. It's one of the hardest things I've ever to read, and I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Now I know that The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, I know that this is based off of a true story. And I know that's probably obviously what makes it very tough to read. To me, horror, and I don't want you guys thinking I'm like a sicko here. I mean, I'm sort of a sicko, but not quite like you guys are thinking. I'm not like a serial killer or nothing yet. And, you know, my kids, you know, they push me every single day. But really, with me is with horror, when you get past a certain age, can you really get scared by a book anymore? No, you really can't. But for me, what keeps me coming back to horror is uncomfortable horror, stuff that is hard to read. When you know something's coming, and you just can't stop it. You know, just jump scares aren't getting you in a book, you know? So this one has a reputation as being one of the most uncomfortable books ever. And hey, that sounds like a great idea to me. I can't remember, a viewer actually bought this for me last year, and I wasn't able to fit it into Fright Fest because I already had that schedule planned. So I want to make sure I got it in there this year. That one is definitely going to happen. Next up, guys, when I talked about Anne Rice on the channel, I said I felt like Salem's Lot and Interview with the Vampire Chronicles, kind of like was the last time vampires were scary before they went. Even Anne Rice was guilty of this before they went full on, you know, just sexy over being scary. I was like, I liked it back when, you know, vampires would eat you, not date you. And what I said in that Anne Rice video is I felt like that was the last time. And a lot of people jumped in the comments and said, have you read Necroscope, Mike? A ton of people about this. In fact, there's some people on the Discord that all went crazy about this like 6 months ago. I think they're on like book 3 or 4 now. So I said, I'll wait and save Necroscope for spooky season because I think that will be right in the sweet spot for that time of year. Now, a lot of people have said that these aren't your typical vampires, so I'm interested to see what they mean by that. But if they are scary, then hey, I'm here for it. That's what I want. I like scary vampires. I'm not saying vampires can't have, layers. Definitely not. I mean, I do like Anne Rice, but I do like it when I actually fear them and not just like, oh, you poor thing. Let's get you into grief counseling. So I'm looking forward to picking this up because I've heard, I say 9 to 1 really, really great things about it. So I'll be interested to see, one, if it clicks with me, and 2, if it interests me to keep reading into the sequels, because I know there's a lot of them. I don't know exactly how many. Now, we're starting to get into ones now, guys, where it's like if I have time. Because, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am reading the Malazan book for the Malazan read-along in October, and it's like Bone Hunters is supposed to be one of the ones that's rather quick. And you say, well, how can a 1,000-page paperback be quick? But the last one I read in like 9 days, and that's good for a Malazan book. So that leaves me, 3+ weeks or 3 weeks or so in October to read this stuff, and I don't think it'll be too difficult. But if I got to cut one for time, it's going to be The Fisherman by John Langan, and this is one that I mixed reception. Another one I had that was I bought this. I think I got this and The Only Good Indians at the same time, and I chose this over Only Good Indians because a lot of people were saying really, really bad things about Only Good Indians. I'm still going to read that. It's just The Fisherman is going to happen first. Don't really know very much about this book at all. It just seemed like everyone in the horror community was reading this one when it first came out. And I always loved that painting. I can't tell you who does the painting, but I've seen that painting before. And yes, guys, what did I say in that Q&A video I just did? Never judge a book by its cover unless it's awesome. And this cover is very, very awesome because it's based off of an awesome painting. So I'll be interested to see there. Now, this one's going to happen for sure. And this, of course, is Uzumaki by Junji Ito because I've got like 4 of these collections by Junji Ito now, and I am itching to get into it. And this guy is supposed to be like the Stephen King of Japan, basically. That this guy was like the horror master. He's the horror icon in Japan. And I've heard so much about Uzumaki over the years. And just looking at the art stuff, it looks just freaky and it looks next level creepy. And that's my brand, guys. So this is one that's going to be happening for sure. In fact, I might actually have a little more coming in the video side for Junji Ito. And that kind of leads us into, guys, videos. What are the videos I'm going to talk about? Well, I will be doing, I actually got a couple of those hard copy over here. This is great professional. You like this? Like this? This is what it's like when you do these live. You don't do a bunch of cuts. I'll be back into the multiverse in October, and that means I'm going to be doing Needful Things. Now, that isn't one that's really planned because, I don't think of this one as a horror book per se, but I do think that the antagonist of this one is very much a horror icon. So I was like, okay, you know what? I think it can be good enough. I'm going to do that anyway, so I'm going to include it here as part of my spooky season. And then, I started going through that top 10 video I did last year. I did a top 10 video last year on a whim, and it's only like the second highest view video on this entire channel, behind one of those Kindle videos. And that was my top 10 horror novels. And I looked at it, and I was like, I reviewed almost all of those, either as Stephen King or for In the Multiverse or in just for Fright Fest last year. I said, well, let me look at the couple that I haven't. And one of those is I Am Legend by Mr. Richard Matheson. A lot of people don't consider this one a horror book, but I'm like, look, it's got big creepy monsters. It deals with isolation. A lot of people put this under sci-fi dystopia, but, look, I think that the end of the world can very much be horrific. I don't see why you would call something like the Vampire Chronicles horror, but not this. I don't really get that. So I am counting it as a horror book. I put it in my top 10 horror books for a reason because I really thought it had those elements that mattered and when I read it for the first time. So I'm not going to reread it, but I do think I have some room to review it. And then it just kind of starts coming into, guys, how much are these videos doing? You know, because like I said, the horror stuff doesn't really get people excited on the channel. Not even Lovecraft really moves the needle here. And I get a lot of people give me the crap about, oh, don't make stuff, you know, just because, you know, look, I want to give people what they want here. And if they aren't watching the horror, that means it's not what they want. So it never comes down to, look, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about on the channel. I mean, I might talk about Michael Crichton, talk about Stephen King. Those videos don't do very much traffic here. But I do this because I love that stuff. And yeah, I'm passionate about the stuff. But again, I want to spend time making content that people are interested in. Again, I like to consider myself a man of the people. But if I do get some good traffic on there, I plan on doing one for another book in that top 10 list I didn't do. And that is Jaws. Because I think Jaws is scary in a way that's next level for me because I'm terrified of the ocean. It is an actual thing, thalassophobia. And then you add in a big, great, killer great white shark. And obviously, that's going to make things very, very scary. So I think Jaws is one of those that, you know, obviously people, it's kind of like I talked about with Jurassic Park the other day, about how people can't disassociate the movie and the book now. And look, that movie is good. It has its horror elements. I feel like it's more of a study of like humanity, I guess, in a way. Whereas I feel like the book has so many different things that you wouldn't have kind of caught just by watching that movie. And I think at my age I am now, seeing it instead of being, you know, the kid's age in that book, now being, the main character's age, I think that would actually be quite something that I'd like to explore. So again, that just comes down to how horror videos are tracking on the channel this year. And then another Joe Hill, I'd like to review Nosferatu. Like I said, that was the last book I did before I started Wheel of Time and then started this channel. So it kind of almost felt like a going back to zero kind of moment for me, because I think Nosferatu, kind of an overrated, a very underrated book. I know a lot of people have said that, it isn't near his best book. And I'm like, look, it's the only one I read, and I really liked it. And I liked it enough that I wanted to keep going with his book. So I think that would be one that would be a lot of fun to dive into. And then I'm already kind of thinking about it off the books. And I don't know, I already did last year, I did my top 10 horror movies, so I can't do that again. Off the books, I was thinking maybe just talk about some of the TV and horror movie, because me and my wife do a thing every year, which ironically is called Spooky Season, that we call it at our house. She doesn't like scary movies. But during the month of October, she gets that itch and she wants to watch some scary movies. So I save up all the scary movies through the year to watch in October. So maybe we could go through some of the things that we plan to watch during there. I don't know. Off the book stuff's always, it might happen, it might not happen. I don't know. I mean, I haven't even done my one for Sci-Fi September yet. So we'll see what happens. But guys, that is my plans for October this year. Yeah, a little lighter than last year. Like I said, I like to learn these lessons from things that work and things that do not work. But again, I just kind of want to get this video out there in case any of you guys want to read any of these that I plan to do a video for, or any of these I plan to read at the same time. You just want to talk about them and jump on the Discord with me and talk about them. That's always a lot of fun. It's not a read-along. I don't want people thinking it's like a read-along, but it's more of a, I'm going to be reading these, and if you want to read them before I talk about them on the channel, this is a great opportunity to, because there is no time like the fall time, and this is the time to read things a little spooky and get a little scared. So guys, you got anything planned for October to read this year? Drop in the comments and let me know, and I will talk to you there.